Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. Happy Friday, and boy, do we have a great show planned for you today. My good friend, Uncle Jimmy's good friend, former Speak for Yourself colleague, T.J. Houshmandzadeh, an all-time great for the Cincinnati Bengals, a Pro Bowl wide receiver in the NFL. He's going to join us on the show. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers showing back up at Packers training camp. We'll also talk about NFL protocol rules as it relates to COVID. And we'll talk about Kelvin Benjamin showing up 17 pounds overweight and getting cut by the New York Giants. Also, we're going to talk to the smartest man associated with this show, Delano Squires. He's going to join us.
You're talking about me. I'm sorry.
No, I was not talking about you, Uncle Jimmy. I'm talking about Delano Squires. He's going to talk about ministers incorporating critical race theory and the words and thoughts of Ibram Kendi into their message from the pulpit and how inappropriate that is. But before we do any of that, we got to talk about the biggest news in sports.
You?
No, the biggest, not that kind of big, biggest news in sports. Last night, Uncle Jimmy, the Lakers made a blockbuster trade for...
They traded LeBron?
No, they made a blockbuster trade and acquired one of the biggest losers in the NBA, Russell Westbrook. They sent like 3 players and a draft pick, but Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and Magic Johnson's old condoms. They shipped them all off to Washington for Russell Westbrook. You didn't think I'd say that, did you?
So I take it you have no plans of going back to Los Angeles.
No, not
okay, because you know if Russell Westbrook gonna put hands on you. He about that life.
Well, he's really gonna put hands on me after he hears this monologue. The LeBron James-Russell Westbrook marriage has a chance to rival some of Hollywood's all-time great bad marriages. Last night, the Lakers ditched a quarter of their roster to pair Westbrook with King James. This basketball shotgun merger could be right up there with Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee's 3-year marriage. You remember that?
I do not want to see the
tape. You remember that? That ended.
I saw him drive the boat with no hands.
Yeah. That would scare anybody. That marriage ended after 3 years. After just 3 years. And Tommy did 6 months in jail. Anyone remember Kenny Chesney marriage 4-month stint with Renee Zellweger? They had different objectives and quickly called it quits.
She was a ginger, wasn't she?
Just a few months, huh?
She was a ginger, wasn't she?
Yeah, a little bit maybe,
okay,
but they had different objectives. Okay. I could see James and Westbrook splitting a few short months into the new season over different objectives. Yeah, LeBron wants to win, and Westbrook wants to keep padding his damn stats. This marriage is just a bad idea. After exiting the playoffs in the first round, I understand why the Lakers feel they need to upgrade the roster around their aging superstar LeBron James and their injury-prone superstar Anthony Davis.
You said LeBron is sagging. I'm sorry.
But acquiring Westbrook from the Washington Wizards, that's just a bad move. That's just the wrong move. That would be like, I was about to say something in the post. Westbrook, he's not a winner. He couldn't win it all with Kevin Durant and James Harden in Oklahoma City. Westbrook and his ball-hogging style cost Durant and the Thunder a 3-1 advantage in the 2016 Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors. In the aftermath of that collapse, Durant defected. He fled to Golden State just to get away from Westbrook.
That's bad.
Westbrook then reimagined himself as the modern-day Oscar Robertson, new triple-double king. That's like me, where I became the new triple cheeseburger king at Wendy's. Anyway, Westbrook won an MVP, partnered with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, and he still couldn't win in the postseason. He then jumped to Houston, reconnected with James Harden, and he still couldn't win in the postseason, Uncle Jimmy. It's amazing. Westbrook then moved to Washington, D.C., partnered with Bradley Beal, and guess what? He still couldn't win in the postseason.
Russell Westbrook done had more jobs than you. Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry,
Russell Westbrook is a loser. Plays with the wrong energy, particularly given his position as a point guard. Westbrook plays angry and surly. Basketball is a game of joy, especially for the guy tasked with getting everyone involved. That's what point guards do. LeBron James, he's a joyful competitor. He plays with the same kind of energy as Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. The great playmakers, they wear a smile. That tempers the fire within. Westbrook, he's all temper. Plays with the fire of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, angry, single-minded scoring assassins. Unfortunately for Westbrook, he lacks Jordan and Kobe's skill and self-awareness, and those guys played shooting guard. Their mentality fit the position. Westbrook plays dumb. He reminds me of Hollywood's dumbest celebrity husband and marriage. Jimmy, I'm gonna date some people, but you should get this reference. Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis. That's who Westbrook reminds me of, the rock and roller who could have been bigger than Elvis Presley.
He married his cousin.
Lewis became a star in 1956 when he recorded and released the song Whole Lot of Shaking Going On. Whole lot of shaking going on.
Don't you ever do that again.
Followed that up with the mega hit, Great Balls of Fire. You heard of Great Balls of Fire.
It's a song of a man who got crabs. Go ahead.
See, I shouldn't have made that Magic Johnson condom joke. It's done set you loose. In 1957, at the age of 22, Lewis was the equal of Elvis Presley. Lewis then married his 13-year-old second cousin, Myra Gale Brown. Marriage torched his popularity and his appearance fees for live performances. Just like Russell Westbrook, Lewis had to reinvent himself. He turned to a country music star where audiences were more forgiving of his Louisiana-inspired taste in women. Lewis eventually married 7 different times. I mean, he married 7 times. Let's see.
Did he run out of cousins?
Let's see. But just think about Russell Westbrook. Westbrook has been married to Kevin Durant. He's been married to James Harden. He's been married to Paul George, Bradley Beal, and now Triple-Double King is getting hitched to LeBron James.
But ain't none of them his cousin. Come on, man.
How do you know?
I got some fine-ass cousins. But I'm just saying, go ahead. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Look, Westbrook is the great basketball of fire.
I like that. I see what you did there. Okay.
Burns down every hoops relationship he enters. He incinerates teammates, fans, and reporters. He's just too damn angry. And in 2019, he scolded a small child for touching him during a game.
Where?
Same year, he beefed with a Utah Jazz fan and accused the fan of using a racial slur. For years, he feuded with Daily Oklahoman columnist Barry Trammell, one of the nicest guys in sports journalism. Just tell you, Westbrook, angry guy. LeBron is marrying the Liz Taylor 2.0. It's a mistake. It looks good on paper. Liz always looked good. The Lakers need another playmaker. Westbrook can play off the ball as LeBron serves as Los Angeles' primary ball handler. Sounds great, sounds good. Everything about Westbrook sounds good. He plays hard every night. He's also an emotional roller coaster every night, particularly at crunch time. He's unpredictable and a poor decision maker. Plus, the pressure dynamics are all wrong in this shotgun marriage. The pressure to win next season needs to be on Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Now, the most pressure will be on Westbrook. His career legacy will be on the line. His stats fooled many of us into believing he was the second coming of the Big O. Westbrook is really a mix of Dominique Wilkins, Nate Archibald, and George McGinnis. You recognize all them names? Dominique Wilson, Dominique Wilkins.
Of course I do.
Nate Archibald, George McGinnis.
Come on, man. The Iceman. That's the Iceman.
No, that's not the George. You're thinking of George Gervin. George McGinnis played for the Pacers. Big muscular dude. Played bully ball.
He wasn't the dude that killed everybody?
No. George. Anyway.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Westbrook is the human highlight film who plays like a tiny Big Mac. See, that's a play.
You got one more time to throw a food reference into this monologue, Jason.
Oh, these are all, they called George McGinnis Big Mac. Nate Archibald was tiny. Dominique was the human highlight reel. You see how I put all that together?
Okay, man.
You see, that was good. They paid me the Big Mac.
And I get it. That was good. I gave it to you. Go ahead, man.
Westbrook is not one of the NBA's top 50 players of all time. He's a nice little interesting gimmick. He'll be desperate to disprove that narrative all next season. It's going to make it impossible for him to control his emotions. He's backed into a corner. There will be an initial honeymoon period, and then he'll revert to his old habits at a critical moment and cost the Lakers a chance to win it all. The Lakers will be a great ball of fire. See how I stuck that landing?
You did that.
See how I stuck that landing?
Simone, you can learn something from him. Did you see him stick that landing?
There you go.
Can I add one? You said a marriage, and I was listening to you.
I know you got a lot of experience with marriage.
I'm gonna keep this to where something you can relate to.
Yeah.
I got one for you. This kind of puts me in mind of Bobby and Whitney. Except I think that in this relationship, I think Russell Westbrook is Bobby Brown.
And LeBron is Whitney Houston?
And LeBron is Whitney Houston.
Explain that one.
Everybody thought that Bobby was the problem. And they thought that Bobby was corrupting Whitney.
Don't be cruel here, Jim.
Okay, hey, I'm just telling you, because I would never be that cruel to you. I'm just saying.
So you think LeBron's going to corrupt Westbrook? Is that your suggestion?
I think that we will find LeBron face down in the shower before we'll find Russell Westbrook.
Hey, come on, Jim.
In other words, what I'm saying.
LeBron's got 4 titles, man.
Look, I'm just telling you. Let me try one more. Let me try one more marriage with you and see if you can feel this. And I'm very serious about this.
You humping around for analogies right now, huh?
Hey, man, I'm looking for that Roni. You know what I can say?
Cool it now, Jim. Cool
All
it
right,
now.
look, man, I'm just trying to do it with every little step I take. All right, come on, man. Listen, man,
Your prerogative, Jim.
You're right. Listen, man, stop it, all right? Listen, I would compare, honestly, because I don't like the Lakers. I don't like LeBron. I don't like that dude with the big old eye. I don't like nothing about the Lakers. I do the fact that I don't like any of them, and I don't like Russell Westbrook, putting all of them together, I think it's about like the equivalent of Michael Jordan and the Bulls when they took on Dennis Rodman. Because honestly, man, I believe that Russell Westbrook is going to give LeBron James, going to give Anthony Davis, when they come out there with that little mess, oh, I'm hurt. Russell Westbrook going to be like, if you don't get your little soft ass up, LeBron, oh, I pulled my nuts. Get your little soft ass up. You ain't done nothing with your nuts. You know what I mean? I'm serious. And that might be what LeBron, because, trust me right now, LeBron, your career's over. I'm your last hope. I'm that last thing you need to get you over that hump, because you ain't got that. Hey, man, this is.
I'm gonna you've shocked me with the Dennis Rodman analogy, because Dennis Rodman had a terrible reputation. It's a nut job. Dennis Rodman did help.
Dennis Rodman gave the Chicago Bulls what they needed. They needed somebody to kick a cameraman in the nuts, and that's what he did.
Let me tell you the difference, though. Dennis Rodman won championships with the Detroit Pistons. Part of Isaiah's team. He came with a bit of a championship pedigree. He was a part of the Bad Boy Pistons.
Okay, this is true.
Westbrook doesn't have any of that.
Okay, I'm trying to give him something, man. He's got some heart.
Let's go out to Chicago, though, and bring in Greg Couch.
We just got done talking.
Yeah, let's bring in Greg Couch, because he can either confirm, deny, dispute your Dennis Rodman analogy, which isn't bad, but, this guy covered the Bulls and Chicago Bulls fan.
Hey, Greg, come on in here. We need you to be ice, baby. Come on, man. Here come Vanilla Ice. Come on, man.
Greg, you heard my rant. You heard Uncle Jimmy compare Westbrook perhaps to Dennis Rodman. Where do you land on this?
Well, just so I'm clear, Jason, you don't like Westbrook then? You think this is a mistake? I mean, that was
I think this is a mistake.
I think you made that pretty clear.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I think you made it pretty clear. It was just very strong, so it would be hard to miss that point. But I think you're focusing on the wrong guy. I think this is a test of LeBron right now, and a little bit what Jim just said about Dennis Rodman. I mean, we know what we're getting with Westbrook, a ball hog, and a team doesn't really need a ball hog when they've got LeBron there. The job is to get the ball to LeBron. But what Jordan did was he had a guy who he was very selfish in Rodman, and Jordan had to teach him, this is your role, this is what we need you to do to win a championship. And that's what LeBron has to do now. And I don't know if LeBron has that kind of kick butt kind of mentality that he'll do that to Westbrook. So I think that Rodman analogy is a really good one. And I think this is a test of LeBron. If he wants to show, we're always comparing LeBron to Jordan. It's not really a good comparison, but it's one that we always make anyway. And I think this is LeBron's chance to take a guy who's got unbelievable superstar skills and see if he can turn him into an actual superstar player.
That's really good. He's helped you out. Between the two of you, you've actually made a halfway decent point.
Man, look, let me tell you, me and Greg and I, we done kind of, Greg hits me up for tips. By the way, Greg, listen, I told you, get that pick and get the back of your hair right in here, man. Get it right in here. But other than that, man, me and Greg is cool like that, man.
But tell me this, Jim, do you think, because he's made a good point, Jordan had the kind of personality that he bullied teammates and certainly had no problem standing up to teammates, set a culture and an environment with the Bulls where they could handle a Dennis Rodman. And they had Phil Jackson, a great coach, that could tolerate a Dennis Rodman, right, while Jordan and the other players policed Dennis Rodman. Does LeBron have the kind of personality? Because trust me, Russell Westbrook is going to stand up to LeBron and anybody. He's nobody's punk. And LeBron's not going to be backed up by Phil Jackson. He's going to be backed up by Frank Vogel. And Jason Kidd has since departed the Lakers coaching staff as well. He's now the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. You think LeBron's man enough to take on Russell Westbrook?
Like Greg Nice just said to you, if LeBron James wants to continue having his name mentioned with Michael Jordan, he has to tap into whatever this is that Russell Westbrook has and make it work. If you great, all of this he takes people to make himself great, now he's got to take whatever that is he has and get Russell one ring. He's got to do it. If he don't, then guess what? You're not LeBron.
Greg,
or you're not Michael.
Greg, you've made a great analogy, but you haven't taken a side. Do you think LeBron has what it takes to discipline and police Russell Westbrook?
No, I don't. And I also think that there's a bigger issue with...
Oh, God. Greg!
I also think there's a bigger issue with Westbrook. When you're talking about, his legacy and him worried about his legacy, we have no idea what Westbrook thinks his legacy is all about. I mean, he thinks it's about scoring points and getting rebounds. He doesn't think it's about winning championships. We don't even know if a championship means anything to Russell Westbrook. So, I think that's a big task for LeBron to teach him what it's like to be a champion. And, when you keep going from team to team, I mean, I know LeBron did it, but he's just that great that he could get away with it. But you don't really learn the important parts of what you need to do, the little things that you need to do to fit in on your team. When you don't develop with a team, you don't learn the nuances that are required. And if you don't even care about the nuances, that makes it even worse. But I will say with Westbrook, when he hasn't won in the past, mostly I put that on Harden. So I guess I do think there is a small chance that LeBron can make this work. But if I had to put money on it, Jason, there's no way I would put money on the Lakers with Westbrook. I don't think it's a good move.
I think the other thing that's interesting here is right after, or toward the end of the playoffs, there were all these rumors that the Lakers were going to get Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul would have been a much better play than Russell Westbrook, no?
Absolutely. I think that would have been a perfect choice because Paul is willing to do whatever the team needs. I mean, I realize he hasn't been a champion either, but it seems like he's out there for the purpose of the team. And so I think he would have tried to figure out what he was supposed to do. He would have tried to figure out what's the path to winning a championship, and he would have gotten along great with LeBron because they're already close. So I think Paul would have been a great choice. I don't really know why they didn't go after him, or maybe he just told him right away he didn't want to do that or something. I'm just sort of surprised by that move. But yeah, definitely, I would have gone with Paul if I could have.
Boo!
I thought Greg was your boy.
Well, he done fell off the damn rail. I done gave him too much damn credit. How the hell look, the Lakers got too many nice guys on their team. The Lakers need one asshole. They need. What did Tony Montana say? You need people like me. you need to be able to point your finger and say, "There go the black guy." That's Russell Westbrook. See, you ain't gonna never be another black guy like me. Say good night to the black guy. That's Russell Westbrook.
Greg, I'm gonna let you go. Appreciate it. Great job.
Thanks.
G.
Uncle Jimmy.
What, man?
Not bad. I didn't know you could do Tony Montana.
Hey, what can I say, man? You know, hey, she go read to a couple of blind kids. She'll love me in the morning.
When is the last time you think you had a great American meat?
I have American meat all the time, man.
No, I'm talking about grass-fed American meat that was raised and produced right here in the USA. Chances are it's been way too long. Did you know that 80% of grass-fed beef in the U.S. is imported from overseas? But not my good friends at Good Ranchers. They've traveled the country on a mission to help the American family. How? By working together with local farms and ranches and shipping straight to your door. Good Ranchers delivers American craft beef and better than organic chicken. They also have T-bones, fillets, strips, gourmet burgers, and more, and at half the price of online competitors. You get the steakhouse quality you deserve at a price every family can afford. Be the hero your families need by ordering from Good Ranchers today. Jim.
What?
Soon, any day now, we're supposed to be getting this grill that we're going to put out in the back.
I can't wait.
And so hopefully we'll start cooking and people can just start throwing me meat on my desk and I can eat Good Ranchers meat while I'm
Do you ever listen to what the hell you say?
What?
You just want people we just gonna start throwing him meat.
Good Ranchers.
You just sat up there and said yesterday we're gonna transition.
If you subscribe, you get $20 off and free express shipping. Get with Good Ranchers today and support American farmers. Go to goodranchers.com/fearless and get $20 off and free express shipping. That's goodranchers.com/fearless.
/seafood.
Welcome back. Time to roll out to California and bring in one of my all-time favorite NFL players, great friend, a friend of mine since we started working together over at Fox Sports on Speak for Yourself. He's now kind of on my bad side because he's gone to war with Darnell Smith, a Warren Central great, a Ball State great. They're having these workout battles. Darnell from my old show, Speak for Yourself. I'm on Team Darnell. T.J. Houshmandzadeh is on the other team. I think he's getting his butt kicked by Darnell in these workouts. You got to check this stuff out over Instagram. TJ and
I'm Team Darnell too. I ain't fooling with Pretty Ricky. I ain't fooling with Pretty Ricky, man. I hope Darnell give him that work, man. Come to think of it, man, how come me and you don't do a workout video?
He don't want to challenge me. I don't want to challenge TJ or Darnell. TJ Houshmandzadeh, welcome to Fearless. Appreciate you joining us.
Pretty Ricky.
It's my pleasure. And I got something for Darnell later today, by the way. I'm headed to the gym later today. I have something for Darnell. Be ready. Yes. I'm good, man. It's good to see you guys, man.
Right.
I miss y'all.
It's great to see you, TJ. And we had LeVar on, I think, last week or at some point. And I want to share the same thing I share with my audience about you and LeVar have gone on to do this show Up on Game. It's on Fox Sports Radio on the weekend. It's a podcast. It's one of the best sports podcasts going. It's in the same lane as I Am Athlete, except you guys take a little different approach. And I'm just so proud of you and LeVar and just how professional and how seriously you've taken your broadcasting careers. These guys are some of the most intelligent, authentic people speaking in the sports lane. A lot of people tell you what you want to hear, tell you what they think will be popular over social media. These guys have built a show that's really trying to educate you about what's really going on inside the game and how to excel inside the game. Love the name Up on Game, and nobody can teach it to you better than TJ and LeVar.
They're keeping you up on game, man. Hey, man, can I say this real quick?
Yeah,
just real quick,
please.
honestly, man, from Fox, man, I just got to say, man, TJ, as far as this, and LeVar, as far as just being a brother that just kept it real. I mean, just being an NFL star, me, little dude from Kansas City, man, just always, man, just kept it real, humble, honest, true story, man. Just a good dude, man.
Look, I'm going to tell you, TJ even tried to bring peace between me and Chad Johnson, or me and Chad Ochocinco, TJ, and one day we'll get that full piece. We'll get Chad on the show. But anyway,
go ahead, man, sorry.
Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in the NFL right now. And one of the big stories is Aaron Rodgers and his feud over the offseason with the Green Bay Packers. He made threats or intimated threats, suggested, leaked threats through the media that he may not come back and play this year. He wanted to be traded. It appears that he's, come crawling back to the Packers with no real concessions. I guess this is going to be his last year, and he thinks he's analogizing it to Michael Jordan's last dance. I consider this Aaron Rodgers' last chance to prove that he's the greatest quarterback.
That was good.
The greatest quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. If he leaves out of there with just one Super Bowl title, I think that's going to be disappointing. TJ, what's your take on Aaron Rodgers and what's going on with him and the Packers?
The way the situation unfolded was odd, to say the least. I genuinely thought he's not going to show up. The Packers, they weren't giving in, and it was obvious. And then when you really delve into it and you look into it, the Packers had no choice. Jordan Love hadn't played a snap, one down, because last season with COVID, no preseason. I truly believe he's going to play 90% of these snaps this preseason to show them he can or cannot play. If Jordan Love shows anything, this is 1,000% Aaron Rodgers last season. The only reason Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay today is because they're not 100% sure what Jordan Love can give them. They trade for Randall Cobb. You probably can find receivers at this point in Randall Cobb's career that's better, but it's a personal attachment that A-Rod has with him that he wants him back. And so when you're a player, you have friends and you want guys to stay on the team, but sometimes it's not best for the team, especially at this stage.
So you think they're going to give Jordan Love 95% of the snaps during the preseason and try to evaluate what he is. And if he shows anything, this is definitely Aaron Rodgers' last season. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers is committed or prefers for this to be his last season in Green Bay?
That's a really good question, Jason. I'm not 100% sure what I believe Aaron Rodgers would like to go somewhere else that has a really, if you can put him in Denver with Vic Fangio, great defensive mind, really good defense, and those young receivers that they have in Denver, he could go to Denver and possibly win a Super Bowl, and it will show that, hey, they didn't give me what I needed in Green Bay. And so it depends on where he lands. I mean, you look at with Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams sees the writing on the wall, man. He's talking to Aaron Rodgers. I'm not signing this contract. If y'all want me to sign, y'all going to have to overpay me. I know Aaron is gone after this season. I don't want to stay here and rebuild, so to speak. And so Jordan Love, yes, will get the majority of steps. He just needs to show them he can play. And if he can't, they're in trouble.
All right, let's move to a somewhat humorous story, but it's also kind of serious and a reflection of the times that we're living in. Kelvin Benjamin has been out of the league since 2018. Dave Gettleman, I think, had drafted him when he was in Carolina. Kelvin Benjamin was a first-round pick as a wide receiver. He's now 268 pounds and was trying to come back into the league as a tight end. And
he a hot dog vendor.
Tight end and a hot dog vendor. And he and Giants head coach Joe Judge didn't seem to hit it off. Joe Judge did what head coaches do when a guy shows up out of shape in his view, or they gave him a weight requirement, I think of 251 pounds, he shows up at 268. Kelvin Benjamin, he was 265 at their mini camp, and he tells Joe Judge on the field, well, I put on muscle.
How the hell you gonna show up 265 at a mini camp? Get the hell out of here, man. That's an oxymoron.
Then he shows up at 268, though, for training camp, and Joe Judge calls him out on the field, and then it escalates, and Kelvin Benjamin walks off the field, and they end up cutting him.
He waddled off the field. I'm sorry, go ahead.
TJ,
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Is Kelvin Benjamin a little overly sensitive here? He's claiming, this shouldn't have taken place on the field. Why was he called out? I don't get where Kelvin Benjamin is coming from. This seems commonplace.
He coming from the kitchen. Where he coming from? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It's too mean.
Hey, Jimmy, you funny. That you what you're saying is 100% correct, but it's funny. Like, I get where Kelvin Benjamin is coming from. I would have liked Joe Judge. They knew he was overweight when he weighed in. Handle that in a meeting. For you to do it on the field in front of your peers and your teammates, I don't think that was right. But I was always in shape. Marvin Lewis, my weight to come in the camp was 205. Chad's weight was like 190 or whatever it was. Everybody has a weight that they want you to hit. It's simple. If they told you to come in at 251, come in at 251. That's what they want. And if you're not effective at 251, you will sit down with the strength coach, the nutritionist, your position coach, or whomever it may be, and say, I feel a little more comfortable at this weight. Is it okay if I put weight on? You cannot show up 17 pounds overweight after you've been out of the league, playing a new position, and think it's okay. You just can't do that. And he knows that. And I think the fact that because he passed a conditioning test, it showed that he was in shape. They give you a weight, you come in at that weight, and it's just simple as that.
The thing that Joe Judge did that I think Kelvin Benjamin's calling him out on, and there's a kernel of legitimacy. If Joe Judge is Bill Belichick, if he's Bill Parcells, if he's some great coach with a great reputation, go ahead and call guys out on the field in front of everybody. But when you're a coach still trying to prove yourself, and you're a former special teams coach, and you're dealing with a veteran player, I just think you got to take a different tack, perhaps. He doesn't have the clout to do what he was trying to do to Kelvin Benjamin. I think that's the gist of the problem.
And that's why Kelvin Benjamin said what he said. He basically said what you just said. You have no skins on the wall. What have you done for you to treat me this way? What have you done for you to talk to me like this? Prove yourself first. If anything, Kelvin Benjamin has proven himself more than Joe as a player than Joe Judge has proven himself as a coach. And so a lot of these coaches that work under Belichick, or they work under great coaches that have great philosophies in the way they do certain things, they think they can be that guy. You can't be that guy if you don't have the accolades to back it up, if you don't have skin on the wall, so to speak. And so, but I see where he's coming from. But Jason, when you've been out of the league for multiple seasons and you want to play in the National Football League, just do what you're supposed to do. Do what you're told to do. And if you can't do that, then don't play or don't attempt to play. It's simple.
Final question, TJ. You never had to go through this all your years in the NFL, but this COVID thing and the COVID protocols and all the, they're trying to force vaccinations on players. And the NFL's taken the unique step of suggesting or requiring NFL players that are unvaccinated to wear wristbands. And J.C. Tretter, the player president at NFLPA, finally stood up for NFL players and questioned this publicly and said, hey, man, y'all trying to shame these guys that don't have vaccines. Where do you stand? We've heard Michael Irvin rip Cowboys players for not meeting the threshold, the 85% vaccinated threshold. Where would you stand if you were in the league? Or what's your position on this vaccine protocols and mandatory vaccines? Where do you come down on this?
For me personally, if I was still playing, just knowing me, I love football. And so I probably would get vaccinated. I'm not even going to sit here and act like I wouldn't. I'm almost certain I would. But what I will say, there's so much mistrust going on. I don't think they should shame players by wearing wristbands. I actually think teams shouldn't even do that. Number one, you're separating the team. You're dividing the team. And so a team is everyone. And when you have, okay, you put this wristband on because you're not vaccinated, I don't think that's right. And you know what's crazy is guys would line up Sunday in the training room before the game. I'm talking about a line like we waiting in the concession stand to get the last burger, everybody, to get a Toradol shot. They would line up for that. You know what type of damage that is doing to your body? And they would line up for that every single Sunday. So the fact that they won't line up to get vaccinated is odd. And so they have to figure this out. I do not believe they should wear a wristband because you're separating the team. Oh, you get in this locker room, you wear a mask all the time. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do that. If I was on the team and I was a player rep for many years, I wouldn't let the guys do it. Nobody's wearing a wristband. You will wear your mask, but if you're going to wear your mask, we're all going to wear our masks. Let's be a team and let's do this stuff together. We're not going to alienate a few players or a handful of players, however many it is. But if I was a player, yes, I would probably get vaccinated because the way you've seen guys line up in that training room every Sunday for a Toradol shot, it made no sense.
TJ, we're going to get you out of here, but I do want to, on a personal note, update us if you can on your daughters. TJ has daughters that are great softball players. I think one's already on the LSU team and another one's headed to the LSU team. Give us a quick update.
Yeah, well, my oldest daughter will be a junior. My youngest one is a freshman. My oldest one played. I probably started half of the games last year. I'm almost 100% certain they'll both be starters this year. One of them is standing right here looking at me now as I'm talking about her. Yeah, we work at it, Jason. They love the game of softball. We've been in it for a long time. They put the work in. They're going to see the results. But even at LSU, you go up there, it's competition every year. They're bringing in the top recruits every year. And so it's survival of the fittest. If you ain't doing what you got to do, you're not going to play. And so they're the reason I'm working out. They're the reason I'm about to put Darnell to shame here in about a couple hours. So they got to go work out. When they go work out, I got to work out. And so they're my motivation right now, actually.
Thank you, TJ.
TJ.
Hey, anytime, man. Uncle Jimmy, see me on that Madden. And let them know after I beat you in Madden.
Oh, boy, you about to get that work, man. For real, you about to get that work. You know where I'm going to be at, man. You don't let your mouth write a check that your ass can't cash, pretty boy.
All right, we got to go.
Let me on the stick, son.
That's TJ Houshmandzadeh. His daughter's great softball players. LSU, a national program in contention for a national title every year. Jimmy claims to be in contention for a Madden national title every year.
Hey, man, I am a first ballot Madden Hall of Famer. I'm here to tell you right now.
The oldest Madden player in America.
That's right. Get your ass kicked by an old man.
All right. Go to youtube.com/Jason Whitlock. Hit that subscribe, like, notifications button. Leave a comment. All right. Coming up, I think we're going to talk to Delano.
My guy.
The professor.
Professor D.
We'll all get educated here in a minute.
It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
Welcome back. It's time for Delano Squires, the smartest man on this show. We're going to roll out to Washington, D.C. Delano's written 2 very good columns for The Blaze this week. We talked yesterday about the column he wrote for the 1776 United Project. Today, we want to talk about the work he's done for us. Delano, welcome to the program. You've written about one of my favorite topics today, and that's the...
Lasagna?
No, not lasagna.
I'm sorry.
Hot chicken from Hattie B's. He's written about that. No, no. He's written about evangelicals, Christians, who have now modeled themselves after the racial politicians popular in the world today. And he basically says in his column today, it's titled, Christians, evangelicals should model Christ, not Ibram Kendi or Ibram Kendi X or Ibram X Kendi. I always get the confused.
You keep changing it every week.
I keep changing it. But one of the critical passages here, not to steal all your thunder, Delano, but you quoted from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18, the one who sins is the one who will die. The child will not share the guilt of the parent, nor will the parent share the guilt of the child. The righteousness of the righteous will be credited to them, and the wickedness of the wicked will be charged against them. Delano, explain why this passage in particular is so central to your argument about modeling Christ, not Kendi.
Sure. It's so central because much of what we hear today around, race and politics and social inequities is that Americans today, particularly white Americans today, must repent for and remedy the sins of their forefathers. And really, when people say that, they don't just mean someone's ancestors, someone who's from the South whose ancestors may have been slave owners. They basically mean all white people who existed generations ago, whether they were in charge of public policy or not. So the passage in Ezekiel is much more direct. It says that a son is not responsible for the sins of his father, and nor is the father responsible for the sins of the son. What people like Kendi say, or Robin DiAngelo, or Ta-Nehisi Coates, or many of the race writers today, their contention is that whites today are responsible for the sins not just of their ancestors, but for anyone who looked like them generations ago. And I think that concept, that type of skin color group guilt, is something that's both bad policy, but even more important, bad theology.
Delano, what you're getting at is we've moved into such a secular society. Our standards of behavior, our philosophies that are driving the country are actually hostile to what's taught in the Bible, because to me, and I could be wrong, well, I heard Tony Evans say that advancing the kingdom of Christ is basically the point of the Bible. I would say, and again, Tony Evans, Reverend Tony, much smarter than me, but my little layman's understanding is that forgiveness is central to the point of the Bible and the point of being a Christian, that Christ, Jesus died to forgive us of our sins. And we're moving towards a society that forgives no one. This is insanity.
And it's so ironic because Ibram Kendi has said in the past that racism is death, and his view, I'm assuming, of anti-racism is life. So what he really does, he appropriates scriptures that describe Christ in terms of, Jesus being, sin being death and Jesus being life. And he applies that to his views on racism and anti-racism. The problem is that the people like Kendi and Coates and the people who see all of humanity through the lens of race, right? And that lens is one that really only works in the U.S., in Western countries. I don't know what they would do if they went to a country where everybody looked the same. I'm not sure how they would dole out guilt in that type of environment. But here in America, what ends up happening is that people with that particular worldview can never forgive people, because if whiteness is a sin, if whiteness in and of itself is a sin, then the people who are guilty of that sin, for whatever reason, from their perspective, can never be forgiven. So that's why I think you see oftentimes, white liberals seem to be on a hamster wheel where they try to do everything that the quote unquote anti-racists tell them to do, and it's never enough. And what they think, the white liberals think, is that, these people only hate white conservatives, but they don't realize that the folks who hold that particular worldview have just as much disdain for the white liberal as they do for the white conservative. So it's bad theology in the fact that there are Christians who have embraced this type of thinking, and Christians who come from relatively theologically conservative denominations who've embraced this type of thinking. And I think that's why I want to raise this issue, because if this is the way we're going as a country, and if the people who practice the religion of forgiveness start to think this way, then we're all in for some serious trouble.
The critical thing in your piece is it's not just Christians, but this is actually coming from the pulpit. Christians are being led by their leaders into this type of thought. And the Bible is so crystal clear on this. What is baiting the ministers into embracing this? Is it just a popularity play?
I think part of it is how some of them see race. Some of them see it as see race and racism. Some of them see racism in many respects as the one unforgivable sin. The black preachers in the evangelical world and the white ones sort of operate from slightly different dynamics. I think the white ones oftentimes are motivated by a sense of guilt, the same type of guilt that you see consuming, as I said, white liberals in many cases. These pastors, and I mentioned one of them, McLean Bible Church, which is right outside of D.C., I think they see themselves as good, caring Christian people. They want their black congregants to feel at home in the church. And so they end up borrowing from secular texts of sociology, whether it's Kendi, whether it's, other books that, oftentimes that black pastors recommend. And they think that they can use these things as analytical tools. Sometimes that's what they'll say. But really what ends up happening is that these books that they try to appropriate end up, for lack of a better term, colonizing their view of the Bible. So they end up subordinating the scriptures to the words of Kendi or Coates or some other thinker. I think for the black theologians and the black pastors, many of them, I think, carry a certain sense of discomfort because many of them were trained in majority white seminaries or evangelical circles, and some of them discuss not necessarily feeling welcomed or affirmed. I'm not sure, again, what goes on in people's heads. I think part of it is they do want to be affirmed. They want to hear, in many respects, Black Lives Matter from their white colleagues. But the other part of this, and this ties the black pastors to people like Kendi, and to me this is the most cynical part, is many of them want reparations. They think that the Christian response to the history of black discrimination in this country is for the government, I'm assuming the federal government, to give reparations to black folks. And many of them are becoming more open in their call for reparations.
You said something about the one unforgivable sin. And I know you're not a theologian, and next Wednesday, I'm gonna bring it up with the pastors that come in studio with me on Wednesday's Harmony, but I just want your reaction. I've told friends of mine when we've debated this issue or issues around this, that you're too caught up in what people think about you and not what people think about God. Mm-hmm. And I say that is because we've prioritized, you can't be a Christian if you're racist. And again, we've put that sin of which we all are capable of and all have to some degree biases that could be described as racism. We all have, but somehow, like, if a white person has a bias, that's the unforgivable sin. We prioritize that totally discredits their Christianity. But I could sit here and be an adulterer. I could be lost in gluttony. I could be lost in strip clubs and all. That doesn't invalidate my Christianity. But if somebody has a bias, which, trust me, I have biases. My father had biases. My mama has bias. Everybody I know, Uncle Jimmy, everybody I know has some sort of bias. Right. And so I've told people repeatedly, hey man, instead of evaluating people on how they feel about you, evaluate them on how they feel about God, because if they have some sort of faith in God, God's going to work on these sins within them. God can fix that because he's certainly working on my sins. And so anyway, I just want your reaction to that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Part of the problem is how people have stretched the term racism to a point where it basically fits over anything. There was a point when someone called someone a racist, you got a clear picture of what the party that was being accused might have done to warrant that label. But now people will say someone is racist or participating in racism, even if the person doesn't show any animus or racial bias. So that's why I think one of the things that many theologians, Christian theologians, need to do is actually start using biblical terms. So if they say the word racist, are we talking about ethnic hatred? Are we talking about ethnic partiality, where you treat one person from one group different than the other group? I think clarifying terms is important. I also think starting from a position where we see all of us as coming from the same Creator, and again, if you believe what the Scripture says, it says that God, out of one man, God created basically all men of different nations and marked out their boundaries and where and when they would live. If you start from that position, I think you end up seeing issues of race or ethnicity or nationality in a very different way than the way we talk about them now. So I think ultimately all people have to begin to see the humanity in others and not assume that there's only one group that is capable of the sin of racism or ethnic hatred. And I think we just need to get back to a point where we're starting to speak common language, because so much of the problem that we have right now is about language and it's about wordplay. And you can see, when last year the Smithsonian, the African American History Museum here in DC, put out that infographic, and they listed things like objectivity and rational thought and the nuclear family as aspects of whiteness and white supremacy culture. Those are things that no one 30 years ago would have recognized. So a big part of what we're doing is engaging in language wars. And I think we just need to get back to thinking more clearly, and particularly for Christians, more biblically about some of these issues.
Great stuff.
Do you understand?
What?
Now do you understand why Delano makes the big bucks? Seriously, man. If Delano was alive during the days of Jesus, he would be called a wise man. No, for real, do you listen?
What would I be called? A fat man, I guess?
A fool. But listen here, man. No, did you listen to that? I mean, honest to goodness, man. I love Delano. Any question you asked him, he just gives you that answer. You ask him, you'll say, Delano, what do you think about the state of the black man? Delano will look at you and say, well, if we as a black man continue to go to bed with an itchy booty, can we as a people, Jason, be surprised if we continue to wake up with a smelly finger? Now, I asked you, my brother. I love that dude, man.
Respect.
Delano, we're going to let you go. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
That was great stuff, as always.
I love him, man.
Yeah, Delano's good.
Yeah, but he has an answer.
He does. And,
that's why you get your job.
I have gone to bed with an itchy booty, and you're absolutely correct.
But notice how well he said it. It's not what you say.
It's how well you say it.
There you go. That's why I like him.
All right, stick around. Uncle Jimmy's got a Bible story. I hope it's better than the smelly booty, itchy fingers.
Oh, Jesus.
Hope it's better than that. Go to youtube.com.
Slipped out, okay?
/Jason Whitlock. Uncle Jimmy's Bible story and our approval rating on Russell Westbrook. Next. Oh! Welcome back. You know what? I need some popcorn for these Bible stories. I need something to snack on, This is like going to the drive-in movie theater.
How about grabbing you one of those Built bars?
That would be awesome. Could we get someone toss me a Built bar, Chris, and I can eat a Built bar while I'm listening to your Bible story. This is
Hey,
awesome.
could we lather that down with some barbecue sauce on the way, please?
Are you ready for your? Go ahead and toss it. We're good.
Damn!
You ready? I used to be an athlete. Oh man, this is great. It's the real chocolate, zero guilt Built bar. Oh, there it is. It's the grasshopper. Anyway, Uncle Jimmy.
Before you do. Yes, sir.
Let's go with the Bible story now that I got something to snack on.
Man, listen. I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't want to look at that little nasty video.
Yeah.
Then I put that hat on yesterday.
Yep.
Remember, I reached over here like this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this hat on. And then when I put this hat on, it kind of reminded me, it took me back a little bit, back to the good old, back to my days of one of my favorite rap groups.
Who?
Whodini.
That's not
Whodini.
a rap group.
Whodini is a rap group.
That's a singing group.
God damn, boy, you crazy as hell.
Whodini. You gonna make me go to the internet.
Hey, just stay right there, I got you.
DJ.
Whodini's a rap group, okay?
Go ahead.
And I thought to myself, I said, what the hell would Whodini say if they was alive right now going through this and Simone Biles was pulling this stuff that she doing? What would Whodini say? Now, you said they wasn't a rap group, right?
Whodini.
You said Whodini wasn't a rap group. Let me tell you what Whodini would say if they was here right now.
Whodini is a rapper.
Right. They say, some say it's an art, some say it's a shame that you would quit on your country right before the game. Well, I done checked up high, I done checked down low, and it's called a quitter no matter where you go. So later on, don't act like you don't know when you hear all those boos while you're in the front row. What can I say? That's the life you chose. Now go hang out with LeBron and those. You gotta go. Simone, you gotta go.
How is this a Bible story?
You gotta go. Simone, you gotta go. You quit on your team right before the show. You gotta go. Simone, you gotta go. How do I know? Because I told you so. Now you the idol of many, you just may be. But I saw the little man wearing your clothes on TV. Now you had a grown-ass man wearing your clothes with little girls looking. What about those? You're no longer a winner. You're teaching transgender. Hey, no pain, no gain, no strain, no pain. No gun in your hand, girl. It's just a game. That's all I'm saying. You got to go. Simone, you got to go. You quit on your team right before the show. You got to go. Simone, you got to go. How do I know? Because you told me so. You said, I quit. My mama said, I spit her and quit her. If she does go get her, my mama said, you gotta go get her. I quit. Simone?
Is there a Bible verse connected to any of this?
No. It was just a song that I wanted to say. Simone, you gotta go. Simone, you gotta go. You quit on your team right before the show. You gotta go. Simone, you gotta go. How do we know? Because you told us so. What did you say? I quit. I had to hit that, man. I'm sorry, man. Was Whodini a rap group?
Whodini's a rap group. I don't know how I got it confused. Who am I thinking of? Cameo?
Man, you don't remember Whodini? Of course I remember Whodini. Man, Whodini said, remember Whodini had the song, The Freaks Come Out at Night? The Freaks Come Out at Night. Remember?
Yes, that's their
When the freaks
most
come out.
popular song.
Okay.
Friends.
How many of us have them? Friends. Yeah, right there.
Ones we can't depend
But we need some music like that nowadays.
We do.
I mean, honestly. Now they be singing crabs. How many of us have them? Crabs.
Hold on. You know your parody song is a play off of I'm a Hoe, right? That's the name of the song.
You just caught that, Jason. You just caught that, Jason. I just made it family friendly, but now you. Damn. Welcome to the party, Jason. See, them Built Bars also increase your memory.
Got to have just one love, one love.
There you go. It's all in a part of growing up. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our approval rating before
Let's
we get
do it, man.
finally kicked off there. Next week, have a Bible story.
I'm sorry, man.
That was sacrilegious what you just did.
Man, but it was put on my heart.
It was.
It was put on my heart.
Not by God. Anyway, let's get to Russell Westbrook, who I annihilated at the top of the show. Job performance. The triple-double king, he averaged a triple-double last year, but it's all meaningless. I'm going to give him a 15 for job performance.
I give him an 11.
Wow, you're down on him more than I am.
He's a me, a I, a 1-1 guy. He gets an 11.
That. Bradley Beal probably happy to see him go. Character. Fights with everybody, fights with little kids who touch him courtside, tried to assassinate the character of a Utah Jazz fan. Very low. He plays way too angry. I got him at a 6 in character.
Hey, man, did you see him attack that white woman that time on the stands? Remember when he attacked that white woman? Mm-hmm. Was he not playing true form to his character? Was he not living up to his character?
He definitely was doing that.
I get him a 24. Come on, man.
Authenticity. I do think he's authentic. He's an asshole, and he plays one every minute of the day. He's very authentic. I give him a 22.
That man is about that life. What did he tell that woman? I will sex you up in front of her husband. Boy, if that ain't authentic, I don't know what is. That's a 25 all over my world.
It factor. People do love to come out and see his little triple-double performance or whatever, his little stick gimmick. I'll give him a 20 for it factor.
Hey, man, call it a stick, call it a gimmick. A triple-double is a triple-double. The man got heart. I think he's going to make a difference in L.A., and I think he might be what L.A. needs. I give him a 20.
So I got him candlelit at 63. You got Russell Westbrook as a smoke show?
Hey, man, I'm going to tell you what, man.
No titles?
He's a smoke show. Because they got a shit show going on down there in L.A., and he might be just what they need.
All right. Here comes my favorite singer, Tamara.
Can I sing my song again?
No. Listen, Tamara's playing right now. This is one of the greatest songs in the world. I hope everybody listens to it, enjoys it. It's about freedom.
I like her, man.
It's awesome.
Freedom. One of these days, we're going to learn the words to it. We be like,
that's all.
You wonder why you going to hell.
We are living, get back, we are receiving, all deceiving, we all wanna be free. We want freedom.